And now it's time for us to join together and pray for a quick and full recovery for this individual who's given so much to our city. We are forever in his debt. Thank you for coming, and I'm going to turn it over to Chief Robert Tracy. Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. So good afternoon, and before I begin, I want to thank everyone who has reached out to offer heartfelt prayers and support for our injured officer. He has major injuries and has a long road to recovery. But with St. Louis support and prayers, our officer is not alone in this journey. Here's what we know so far, and I thank everyone for their patience. I gave a preliminary statement this morning when I was at the hospital, saw the officer before he went to surgery, and then I came out, was able to give you a preliminary statement before I went up to the scene where everything transpired that we're talking about today. So here's what we know so far. Early this morning, the Metro East Auto Theft Task Force was conducting an investigation in North City related to a carjacked Toyota RAV4 from East St. Louis. That carjacked SUV was spotted in the 4800 block of Cope Brilliant when deputies assigned to the task force spotted the suspects exit the RAV4 and saw them enter an Acura vehicle, which is also revealed to be stolen from Bellevue. A description of the Acura was broadcasted, and District 6 officers spotted the suspect vehicle in the 5400 block of Queens. District 6 officers attempted a traffic stop. However, the Acura fled. The Acura then swerved towards an officer that was deploying spike strips at Queens and Harney. Despite the vehicle swerving and nearly hitting one of our officers, the Acura was successfully spiked and continued to flee. Officers pursued the Acura where it eventually entered eastbound I-70 from North Kings Highway. The suspect vehicle lost control and struck an uninvolved vehicle just before the eastbound I-70 at Shreve. The driver of the Acura, an 18-year-old man, fled from the car on foot and was taken into custody nearby. The front passenger, a 20-year-old man, remained in the Acura and was also taken into custody. The rear passenger, who we have not yet identified, fled the vehicle, jumped over the center median into the eastbound express lanes of I-70, and was held at gunpoint by a SLMPD officer. As the SLMPD officer was climbing over the median to take the suspect into custody, the officer and the suspect were struck by a separate vehicle while in the express lanes. The officer sustained severe leg injury and after the impact and fell to the ground. Unable to move and concerned, the injured officer fired safety shots into the air to alert other responding officers to his location. And had he not done that, the officers were in different areas looking for perpetrators. Our officers were able to get to him, put a tourniquet on him, and save his life, and put him into a Tahoe, and then we were able to get him in the barns. Had they not done that, we would not be talking about a successful surgery without that tourniquet and quick action by the officers and the responding officers. The SLMPD was placed into a patrol SUV and rushed to the hospital, where he was taken to emergency surgery for major leg trauma. While in critical condition, the officer is now stable. As you heard the mayor, she has spoken with the family and the officer, as I have, about 45 minutes to an hour ago. The suspect was transferred to another hospital in critical, unstable condition. 2 firearms were recovered from inside the stolen Acura. The vehicle that struck the officer and suspect is believed to be a Cadillac CTS sedan between 2008 and 2013. There was a passenger side rear damage and possible damage to the rear tailgate. The vehicle was last seen in the eastbound express lanes with the bumper hanging off. Surveillance cameras spotted the vehicle near I-55, I-44 split around 8:50 a.m., today's date. It is virtually important that anyone who saw this Cadillac with the hanging bumper to call Crime Stoppers. No piece of information is too small. If you saw it, we need to hear from you. And we've been getting tips throughout the day. And I want to thank the public for coming forward because they're giving us very good leads on this vehicle. Please call Crime Stoppers at 866-371-TIPS, TIPS. You can remain anonymous, and you might be eligible for a cash reward. The injured officer is a 31-year-old man who has nearly 6 years of service in the city of St. Louis. Every day, our officers put on that uniform, head to work, not knowing what the dangers that they might face. This job and each shift can bring so many unknowns. Today, what we know is our officer showed up to work, answered the call, and was critically injured while trying to protect and serve the city of St. Louis. Today, I ask St. Louis to say a prayer for our injured officer because he has a long road to recovery. With that, we'll take some questions.
Can you name the officer or at least confirm that this is the same officer that was shot 3 years ago?
We'd like to just keep that name anonymous for now. He is still a victim, and I just hope everyone can have patience as he does his recovery. I think people, you're all good reporters, but right now I don't want to put out his name to give the family some privacy, but there'll be information that'll come out at a later time. But thank you very much for your concern.
Can you disclose the extent of the injuries that he suffered?
Very, very serious.
An amputation?
Very serious, yes, very serious. But I'd rather keep that at this time. More information will come out. It's very serious.
Is the suspect expected to survive, the one who was also hit?
Well, right now, that suspect, I believe, is in surgery. I believe that suspect is very serious, critical. So we're going to keep checking on to see the outcome of the injuries and where he's going to be, and we'll update people on the condition of our perpetrator.
Is there any indication now that the third vehicle, the vehicle that struck the two individuals, is connected in any way to the the carjacked vehicles, or do you think this may have just been a third random vehicle?
In my time, I don't like to speculate, but you know what, it would surprise me if they were connected. So at this time, we don't believe that they're connected. Happened to be coming down where we were pursuing the vehicle was in the local lane. This was coming through the express lane, and all this transpired. I believe it's unrelated, but we're going to do further investigation until we find the individual. We'll be able to tell you more on that. But right now, we don't think they're connected, other than being involved after the apprehension was being made.
I know you don't want to say his name. Can you describe his dedication, though, in the last 6 years to his community? Any attributes that you can describe about this officer?
Well, just seeing the bravery and looking what this young man has gone through, and when just speaking with him coming out of surgery and the type of injuries that he has right now, incredible bravery, toughness. He has had some prior injuries. I will not give out the name. And he has come back to this police department to make sure that he went out to service again when he didn't have to. And here he is again, showing that bravery. So I don't know what attribute you can give that, other than I'm just in awe to be part of this profession, to continue to work with men and women that want to go out and do that job. It makes me proud to still be in it, and it makes me proud to be up here, not because of this, but to talk about their bravery, not about the injuries. Unfortunately, that's what we're talking about today. And his family is an incredible family with the support, and meeting them and the strength that they have today, it's incredible how the families come, and the officers and the partners in our police department. I've spoken to 3 roll calls since coming here, and just to make sure our officers, they go out, and they're going to continue to go out that. So this sets us back with a horrible traumatic injury, but our officers are going to continue to do their job each and every day. And that's what I can say about all officers, including this officer injured today.
Can you tell us more about the officers who you said saved his life and putting a tourniquet on? I mean, time frame, is that minutes, is that seconds? What happened?
Immediately, they have to do that. They're trained to do that. That's why we're trained officer in first aid. And it's not just only with a police officer. When we talk about shot spotter, we talk about getting to the scene. People miss what shot spotter is about. It's finding victims immediately and rendering first aids to other individuals that are not police officers that we don't talk about. We don't really highlight that enough. But that's done to people in the community that are injured, and especially it's been done in this case with our officers. So you have to get to them immediately. It's that type of injury. You can bleed out very, very fast, and because of the quick decision making, and also sometimes you want to wait for an ambulance. This is not the case. Put them in a Tahoe, close down Kings Highway like we did immediately, and get him to that hospital so they can continue to stabilize him, to get him into surgery, to get him out of surgery right now. We're talking about an officer that is going to have a long road to it, never going to be the same way again, but certainly be in a different place had we not put the tourniquet on, and those officers doing that.
2 more questions.
So to be clear, there's 2 suspects who were arrested, and it was the third who was struck by the, you believe, unrelated car, and he is in, or he or she is in the hospital.
We have 3 perpetrators in the
Okay.
car. 2 that are in custody now, the third who's in custody in surgery. And a couple of firearms recovered from the vehicle. I won't get into that. We'll release that information as the investigation continues. But you got to remember, armed carjackings, and actually in the region, assisting other agencies, which we will always do because they assist us coming in and doing those type of things, because we're all working together to try to get these dangerous people off the street.
One more question.
2 cars, the 2 carjacked cars involved were stolen on the Metro East side or St. Louis side of the river?
We believe, I told you one wasn't from Bellevue,
Belleville, yeah.
and the other one we believe is also on the Metro East side.
Okay.
So they came over to our area, and we assisted with another jurisdiction.
Thank you guys very much for your time.
Thank you.
We'll keep you updated.
Chief Robert Tracy updating us on the very latest involving one of his officers hit by a car today while responding to a carjacking. If you were listening, we know that 2 people are now in custody, an 18-year-old and a 20-year-old. The chief saying one of the suspects was able to run away from the scene. An officer held him at gunpoint, and that's when we're told a car hit the officer. The officer is recovering right now, and he credited another officer working the scene for firing safety shots into the air to alert other officers of where they were. We are following this developing story into the evening and night. Look for much more right here on 5 on Your Side, coming up at 5 and 6.